You felt it, didn't you? That shift, that microscopic click inside your mind, like a locked door opening from the inside. And the moment it happened, the world didn't clap. It flinched. That's why they're shaking. Not because you changed, but because you unlocked the version of you they swore would stay buried, forgotten, strangled under their projections and their perfect little expectations. They thought you'd stay predictable, manageable, containable. They built your prison out of assumptions, and you walked straight through the bars like they were smoke. You should have seen their faces the moment they realized the leash wasn't attached anymore, that the creature they thought they understood was suddenly looking back at them with new eyes, eyes that saw everything, and oh, how it terrifies them. Because now you're moving with that unnerving calm, that eerie silence, that stillness that only shows up in beings who've died once and decided not to stay dead. You're not climbing anymore. No, you're ascending. And ascension is something they can't predict, can't control, can't sabotage. Because ascension isn't linear. It breaks their math, it breaks their rules, it breaks them. You unlocked the part they swore you'd never reach. The part where you stop being the one who hopes and start being the one who knows. The part where your pain stops being a wound and mutates into a compass. Where your losses stop being punishments and transform into algorithms. Where your silence stops being weakness and becomes a weapon with a safety off. Tell me, do you notice how you walk differently now? Not faster, not louder, but heavier, denser. Like gravity itself respects you differently. Like the room listens when you enter it. Like even your shadow is reconsidering its job description. And they don't know how to handle that. Because for years they studied the version of you that doubted, panicked, paused, overthought, hesitated. But this version is feral clarity. This version is a paradox. A saint with a psychopath's precision. An angel with demon timing. An innocent heart that learned to sharpen itself on betrayal. This version looks at fear and doesn't run. This version looks at fear and drinks it. You want to understand why they're trembling? Because you finally access the room inside your own mind where every scar became a blueprint. Every heartbreak became a manual. Every failure became ammunition. And every lie they fed you got dissected, studied, and burned for fuel. You reach the part of yourself where they can't follow. The part where your intuition hits like a forensic report. Where your instincts overpower their intentions. Where you smell betrayal before it forms a sentence. Where you feel shifts in energy before anyone speaks. You became the kind of person who makes entire crowds uncomfortable without saying a single word. That's the version of you they tried to prevent. The awakened one, the observant one, the one who isn't moved by noise but by patterns. They can't predict you now. They can't read you. They can't sabotage what they can't understand. You're operating from a depth that terrifies shallow people. You're thinking from a height that blinds those who refuse to evolve. You're choosing your battles with surgical precision. Your silence is louder than their accusations. Your presence is heavier than their gossip. Your purpose is brighter than their envy. And they can't hide it anymore. Their fear spills out of them like light leaks through cracks. Because you're not just becoming powerful. You're becoming unreachable. And nothing scares people more than the moment they realize they can no longer hurt you in the ways they used to. They can't trigger you with the buttons they installed. They can't cage you with the doubts they planted. They can't manipulate a mind that has tasted its own sovereignty. They can't stop what you've activated. You unlocked self-respect. You unlocked self-awareness. You unlocked the brutality of truth, and the elegance of silence, and the discipline of walking away without explaining. You unlocked the version of you that doesn't chase. You choose. You unlocked the version that doesn't beg. You become. You unlocked the version that doesn't fight for a seat. You build the whole damn table. And now the universe is rearranging itself around your awakening. Threads shift. Timelines bend. People glitch. Energies recoil. Destiny accelerates. Because once you unlock this level, the world no longer reacts to who you were. It trembles before who you're becoming. And that, my friend, that's why they're shaking. Not because you're dangerous, but because you finally realized you always were. You feel that, don't you? That eerie quiet right before the storm remembers your name. You didn't ask for this shift, you became it. And now everything in your environment, every person, every room, every jealous pair of eyes, pretending not to watch, is recalibrating around the force you've turned into. You're not improving, you're mutating, you're not healing. You're evolving into something they never had the imagination to account for. That's why their hands shake. That's why their voices crack. That's why they avoid eye contact, like you're a mirror they're terrified to look into. Because you unlocked the version of you that remembers everything. Every slight, every manipulation, every name they called you, every moment they underestimated you. Not to hold grudges, but to build a psychological weapons system from the fragments. Oh, but here's the part they never saw coming. You didn't unlock rage. You unlocked clarity. And clarity is much more lethal. They could handle you when you were emotional. Crying, doubting, breaking, begging, hoping. They could predict your reactions. They could rely on your softness. They could weaponize your empathy. But now your emotions don't lead you. They inform you. Your heart doesn't blind you. It warns you. Your intuition doesn't whisper. It commands. You went from being the one who apologizes for existing to the one whose presence feels like a consequence they don't want to deal with. Because you've mastered the art of not responding. The art of letting a silence do what 1,000 arguments couldn't. The art of walking away with a calmness that haunts them harder than any revenge plot ever could. The art of choosing yourself so ruthlessly that anyone who mistreated you feels like they just witnessed a cosmic punishment. You unlocked the part of you that's done shrinking, the part that doesn't flinch first, the part that no longer tries to be good enough, the part that understands you were always more than they were capable of seeing. And now that you see it, it's over for them. Because once you catch a glimpse of your true magnitude, you can't unsee it. It grows, it expands, it becomes the new baseline of your identity. That's what's scaring them. You're not reacting to their games anymore. You're not taking their bait. You're not adjusting your temperature to make them comfortable. You're not playing the role they cast you in. You broke the script. You rewrote the storyline. And now, they're stuck in the audience, watching a character they don't recognize dominate a plot they thought they owned. They're trying to understand the new you with the old map. And the old map is useless now, because you're moving through tunnels they don't know exist. You're following instincts they don't have access to. You're guided by scars they'll never earn. You're fueled by wounds they thought would end you. You became unpredictable. And unpredictable people are the most dangerous in the world. Not because they seek chaos, but because chaos bends around them. You're not controlled by fear anymore. Fear is controlled by you. You took the part of yourself they swore would stay dormant. your confidence, your intuition, your self-worth, your destiny, and you brought it back from the dead like a resurrection that arrived with a vengeance. You unlocked the part that remembers you aren't small, you aren't replaceable, you aren't lucky to be chosen. You are the one who chooses. Let me tell you something they'll never say out loud. They hoped you'd break. They prayed you'd stay lost. They counted on your confusion. They relied on your exhaustion. They bet your pain would swallow you. But you didn't drown. No, you learned how to breathe underwater. And now you don't fear deep waters anymore. You operate in them. They can't keep up with you. They can't track you. They can't decode you. They can't handle the fact that the same darkness that almost killed you is now part of your arsenal. You walk with a different kind of presence now, the kind that comes from knowing exactly what you survived. This is what evolution looks like when pain is the catalyst. This is what rebirth looks like when you stop asking permission to rise. This is what power looks like when it's earned in silence. And they feel it. They feel every ounce of it. They're not shaking because you became someone new. They're shaking because you finally remembered who the hell you were always meant to be. And now that you've unlocked that, you're not going back. You're not dimming down. You're not folding. You're stepping into the world with a force that makes liars sweat, betrayers panic, and enemies reevaluate their entire strategy. This isn't an upgrade. This is your final form tearing through the surface. And trust me, they should be shaking. And the craziest part? You haven't even started yet. What they're trembling over right now, this version of you that already feels untouchable, unreadable, unfuckwithable, is just the first ripple of what's coming. Because when you unlock a hidden part of yourself, you don't just change. You detonate, piece by piece, layer by layer, memory by memory. You shed the old programming they forced on you like snakeskin peeling off under firelight. You don't even fit inside their definitions anymore. You're too big for the frame they tried to stuff you into. You're too deep for the shallow waters they drowned you in. You're too aware for the tricks that used to work. They're shaking because they can't sedate you with the same illusions, not with guilt, not with shame, not with fear, not with validation withdrawal, not with fake love, not with attention games. You've evolved beyond their control mechanisms, and nothing terrifies a manipulator more than someone who no longer reacts. Because now, you're not playing chess with them, you're playing aftermath. You already know their moves because you've seen every version of them. The mask, the lie, the insecurity, the hunger, the desperation, the performance. You know what drives them. You know what scares them. You know how shallow their depth really is. And that's why they flinch when you speak, when you stay silent, when you walk into the room, when you exist. Because your energy exposes every fake thing around you. You became a spotlight in a world full of shadows, pretending to be whole. But don't misunderstand. This new part of you, it isn't loud, it isn't arrogant, it isn't chaotic. No, it's something far more dangerous. It's calm. Calm like the eye of a storm. Calm like the moment a predator locks onto its target. Calm like someone who finally understands the scale of their own power and doesn't need to flaunt it. Calm because you're not afraid of outcomes anymore. You've seen the worst, survived the worst, adapted to the worst, and now the worst can't touch you the same way. This is what scares them. You unlocked the version of you that doesn't break under pressure. You crystallize under it. You unlocked the version that doesn't flee conflict. You study it. You unlocked the version that doesn't need permission. You move when it feels right. You unlocked the version that doesn't need applause. Your existence is the standing ovation. You unlocked the version that doesn't crave validation. You validate yourself so completely that external approval feels like background noise. You unlocked the version that doesn't take things personally, because you finally understand most people are fighting wars you'll never see, and projecting wounds they'll never heal. You unlocked the version of you that is both holy and dangerous. A saint on the surface, a storm beneath it, a paradox no one was prepared for. You unlocked the part of you that listens to the universe directly. The instincts, the synchronicities, the gut feelings that arrive without explanation. You unlocked intuition so sharp it feels like surveillance. You unlocked perception so precise it feels like prophecy. You unlocked awareness so intense it intimidates people who haven't evolved yet. And here's the real reason they're shaking. They know that once a person unlocks this level of self, there's no going back. You don't shrink again. You don't dim down again. You don't fall for the same traps again. You don't let the same people close again. This version of you sees too much, feels too much, understands too much. You went from being the one who got played to the one who sees the entire board. You went from being underestimated to being impossible to categorize. You went from being disposable to being essential. And they don't have the emotional vocabulary to describe the fear that comes with realizing they no longer matter to someone they once had power over. You dismantled the entire psychological hierarchy they tried to trap you in. Without arguing, without fighting, without screaming. Just by waking up. Just by unlocking that hidden door inside yourself. Just by becoming someone who doesn't need to be understood to be unstoppable. And that's the part that rattles them the most. They can't touch you. They can't box you in. They can't predict you. They can't duplicate you. They can't replace you. They can't reach the place you've ascended to. You've crossed a threshold they were never meant to follow you through. You're in a realm where noise becomes irrelevant, where doubt loses its voice, and where you look at your past self with a soft smile and whisper, "Thank you for surviving long enough for me to arrive." And from this point onward, every step you take is heavier. Every silence you hold is louder. Every decision you make carries the weight of someone who's finally operating from truth, not trauma. You didn't just unlock a part of you. You unlocked the real you. And the real you. That's the version they never wanted to meet. But now they have no choice but to watch what they tried to bury. Walk out of the ground fully awake, fully aware, and fully dangerous. And there's something else crawling under their skin now, something they'll never admit out loud. They know they can't predict your next move anymore. That's the real terror. Not your strength, not your glow-up, not your evolution. It's the uncertainty. You became unreadable, unreachable, unshakable. When you were predictable, they felt safe. When you were wounded, they felt superior. When you were lost, they felt powerful. But now you move like your soul has GPS coordinates they can't access. You act with a precision that suggests you've already replayed every outcome in your mind and discarded the ones beneath you. You speak less, and they hear more. You act slower, and they panic faster. You show less emotion, and they unravel quicker. Because your silence isn't empty anymore. It's encrypted. Your presence isn't soft anymore. It's radiation. Your aura isn't quiet anymore. It's a warning. They feel it when you walk into the room. That low-frequency pulse of someone who has endured the worst kind of darkness and came back with the technology of survival. etched into their bones. You unlocked a part of yourself that can't unlearn what it knows. You see patterns people haven't even realized they're repeating. You catch intentions before they're spoken. You sense energy shifts like a sixth sense wired directly into the undercurrent of reality. They can lie with their words, but they can't lie with their frequency. And you read frequency now. That's why they avoid talking to you too long, why they fidget, why they breathe differently, why they get defensive even when you haven't said a damn thing. You're holding up a mirror they're not ready to face. Let me tell you something they'll never admit, even to themselves. They didn't expect you to come back smarter, sharper, colder, calmer, cleaner, more self-controlled, more aware, more selective. They didn't expect the person they tried to break to return with a blueprint of every weakness they exposed while hurting you. They didn't expect the once reactive version of you to turn into someone who calculates before even blinking. You unlocked the patience of someone who isn't desperate, the intuition of someone who isn't blind, the boundaries of someone who finally respects themselves, the silence of someone who no longer needs to prove a damn thing, the confidence of someone who knows they were never the problem, the discernment of someone who sees through souls like glass. That combination, that's what makes people shake. Because you didn't just level up. You changed the whole architecture of how you move in the world. They thought you'd evolve gently. You evolved violently. Not with anger, but with truth so sharp it slices every illusion around you. You see, when you unlock a new part of yourself, you're not just changing how you think. You're disrupting how everyone else has to interact with you. Your presence becomes a force, a recalibration, a test. People feel exposed around you, unprepared, transparent. Your energy strips away their masks before they get the chance to adjust them. One glance from you and their entire personality feels like a costume stitched together from insecurity. One moment with you and their lies start tripping over their own feet. One silence from you, and they confess more than they intended, because you're not absorbing their chaos anymore. You're reflecting it back, coldly, clearly, accurately. You're the type of person now that forces everyone else to see the truth of themselves. And that is terrifying. Not because you intend harm, but because you've become the most dangerous archetype alive. Someone who sees clearly, but chooses peace. Someone who forgives deeply, but never forgets patterns. Someone who loves strongly, but walks away instantly when disrespected. Someone who understands darkness, but refuses to drown in it again. Someone who has nothing to prove and everything to become. That version of you, the one standing here right now, breathing differently, perceiving differently, choosing differently. That's the version they feared, because you didn't just unlock potential, you unlocked the truth beneath it. You realized you're not made of fragility, you're made of thresholds. Every time they pushed you, you didn't break. You expanded. Every time they underestimated you, you didn't shrink. You sharpened. Every time they tried to contain you, you didn't weaken, you evolved. You carried yourself through the kind of darkness that restructures a soul. And now, every step you take carries the weight of someone who survived the fire and walked out with the flames in their eyes instead of their wounds. You unlocked the part of you that was forged, not found, created, not inherited, earned, not gifted. That level of you. It doesn't vanish, it doesn't dim, it doesn't sleep, it only rises. And that's why they're shaking. Because deep down, they know the truth. They're not witnessing your comeback, they're witnessing your arrival. Something in you froze the moment you felt my voice crawl across your spine. That reaction, that's your instinct, recognizing a truth your mind's been too scared to admit. You think you're alone in this war. You think you're dragging your soul across broken glass with no one in your corner. But that's the funny thing about you. You don't even realize the ghost standing behind you, blade in hand, fighting battles you never saw, cutting throats you never asked them to, and protecting you from consequences you didn't even know were coming. And your enemies? Oh, they know. They know exactly what's happening, because every time they take a shot at you, every time they whisper your name like it's a curse, every time they pray for your downfall like cowards sniveling in the dark, someone out there intercepts the hit, twists the blade, and sends it back dripping with poetic justice. And they can't explain it. They can't rationalize it. They can't make sense of how every trap they lay for you turns into a grave they fall into face first. They tell themselves it's coincidence, because admitting the truth would shatter them. The truth, someone they can't see, someone they don't acknowledge, someone they pretend doesn't exist, has been protecting you with a loyalty so violent it scares them more than you ever could. And you walk around like it's nothing, like you're wandering through a rainstorm without noticing each raindrop moving out of your way. But they notice. Oh, are you kidding? They notice everything. That's why your haters look sick. That's why they look tired. That's why their shoulders stay tense and their eyes stay twitching. Because they keep running into this invisible wall, this unseen force, this relentless guardian who refuses to let you bleed. And here's the delicious part. They don't know who it is. They have no clue where this protection comes from. It terrifies them, because in their minds, you're not supposed to have allies. You're not supposed to have protection. You're not supposed to have leverage. You were supposed to break. You were supposed to fold. You were supposed to crumble under the weight they kept piling on your shoulders. But the universe is laughing now, because every time they push, someone pushes back harder. Every time they spit your name out like venom, someone wipes their mouth for them. Every time they try to dim your light, someone slaps their hand away with a force that rattles their bones. And they pretend they're fine. They pretend they're unbothered. They pretend they're above it. But late at night, when their mask slips, their fear leaks out like poison. Why can't we get to them? Why do things keep going wrong? Why does every plan fall apart? Who the hell keeps protecting them? They whisper those questions like children afraid of the dark. And the real punchline: you don't even notice the war raging behind your back. You don't see the battles ending before they reach your doorstep. You don't feel the fires being put out before the smoke reaches your lungs. But if you listen carefully, if you pay attention to the way chaos bends around you, you'll realize there's a presence, a force, a shadow, fighting for you like you're a prophecy they refuse to let die. Maybe it's someone who loves you. Maybe it's someone who fears losing you. Maybe it's someone whose loyalty is carved into their bones. Maybe it's someone whose world collapses without you in it. Or maybe, and this is my favorite theory, maybe it's someone darker, someone ruthless, someone who sees your potential like a storm waiting to break, someone who understands your value better than you ever could, someone who knows what you'll become and refuses to let the world sabotage their investment, someone who doesn't protect you out of kindness, but out of purpose. And trust me, purpose is more dangerous than love. because love hesitates. Purpose does whatever it must. Your haters can feel that. That's why they panic. That's why they lie. That's why they exaggerate, gossip, distort, manipulate. Because they're losing, and they know they're losing. But what they won't admit, what they can't say out loud, is that they're losing because the battlefield was never fair to begin with. They're fighting you, but someone is fighting for you, quietly, strategically, relentlessly, with a devotion so fearless it makes your enemies look pathetic. They can't outsmart it. They can't outmaneuver it. They can't overpower it. And that drives them insane. Because what kind of villain tries to destroy a person, only to discover that person comes with a built-in demon who bites back harder? Someone is erasing threats before you notice them. Someone is dismantling plots before you're even aware they exist. Someone is turning your haters' dreams into nightmares, and doing it with a smile sharp enough to slit their pride open. You don't owe them gratitude. You don't owe them praise. You don't even owe them recognition. But let this sink in. You were never unprotected. You were never alone. You were never walking through fire without a shadow beside you, carrying gasoline and matches of their own. Someone you didn't notice, someone you overlook, someone you don't even realize is watching, is fighting for you with a violence your enemies can't survive. And your haters, they're losing, worse than they admit, worse than they expected, worse than they can handle. And you just keep moving forward, unbothered, untouched, and unbelievably dangerous, while the universe handles the dirty work behind you. Now smile, not because you're safe, but because your protection is something they will never escape. And you still don't get it, do you? You still don't understand the scale of what's happening behind you. You think this is about gossip, or jealousy, or petty little humans choking on their own bitterness. No. This runs deeper, much deeper. Your haters aren't just losing, they're decaying. They're rotting from the inside out because every time they try to strike you, something steps between you and their poison and sends it right back into their bloodstream. You want to know the part that really eats them alive? You don't lift a finger. You don't clap back. You don't retaliate. You don't go looking for revenge like the rest of the world does when it feels cornered. You just exist. And somehow they're still losing. That paradox, that impossible equation, is what keeps them up at night. Because how do you defeat someone who doesn't even know they're being targeted, yet still walks away untouched every single time? You want to see real fear? Watch the way their hands shake when your name comes up. Watch the way their eyes dart around the room, as if expecting something to materialize in the shadows. Watch the way their voices crack when they try to downplay the coincidences. They think they're being hunted, and maybe they are. Because the one fighting for you, they're not soft, they're not gentle, they don't take the high road. They are a weapon wrapped in skin, and your enemies keep forgetting their safety is tied to your well-being. You have a guardian who does not forgive, does not negotiate, does not hesitate. A creature of instinct and precision, part saint, part psychopath. A contradiction so sharp it cuts the air around you. Someone who has watched you break, watched you bleed, watched you get dragged through hell, and made a vow the world never heard. No one touches them again. And the universe listened. That vow became a force, a pressure, a shield, a shadow that follows you like an omen, not behind you, but just off to the side, where only the guilty can see it. And oh, do they see it? They see it in the way their plans crumble into dust, They see it in the way every rumor they try to spread dies before it reaches the wrong ears. They see it in the way the people they try to recruit against you end up turning on them instead. You don't see any of that. You're busy surviving, growing, healing, becoming something they never expected you to become. But the ones trying to sabotage you, they see everything, and that's why they're terrified. Because they've realized something they will never say out loud. You're not the one they're fighting anymore. They're fighting the force that protects you. And that force wears no face. It leaves no fingerprints. It doesn't broadcast its presence. It doesn't talk. It acts silently, effortlessly, brutally. It takes the shape of timing, the shape of karma, the shape of divine inconvenience, the shape of unexplainable coincidences. Your enemies whisper, "Why does nothing ever stick? Why do we always hit a wall? Why does every path against them collapse? Who the hell is helping them?" And the cruel joke. It's not a single person. It's not a lone warrior. It's not some guardian angel dressed in white. No, it's the universe itself bending around you. Because someone out there made a choice so strong, so absolute, that reality rearranged itself to honor it. A promise forged in pain, a loyalty carved from fire, a devotion that looks holy from the outside, but feels like a demon when it strikes. You don't even realize the kind of protection you walk with. You don't know how many bullets were caught mid-air. You don't know how many knives were knocked from hands. You don't know how many dangers you sidestepped without ever noticing their shadows on the pavement. You think you have bad luck. Your enemies think you have guardians, plural. You think things just didn't work out. Your enemies think someone is rewriting destiny on your behalf. You think you barely survived. Your enemies think you're invincible. And every time they fail, every time they fall, they lose a little more sanity, a little more hope, a little more faith in their ability to ruin you. Because what kind of monster keeps winning without even trying? What kind of creature keeps rising without even knowing they fell? What kind of soul keeps surviving wars they were never told they were fighting? You, the one they underestimated, the one they mocked, the one they tried to break quietly, behind closed doors out of sight, because they didn't want to witness the aftermath. Too late. They're witnessing it now. They're seeing the evolution. They're feeling the shift. They're hearing the whispers. Someone powerful is protecting them. Not out of charity, not out of pity, out of refusal. Refusal to let you be buried. Refusal to let you be erased. Refusal to let you drown in a flood that was never meant for you. Refusal to let the wrong people win a battle they never deserved to start. And you keep walking through storms like the rain fears touching you. You keep navigating chaos like the chaos is on your payroll. You keep surviving ambushes like you saw them coming. But the truth is simpler. Someone saw them coming for you. Someone stopped them. Someone is still stopping them. Someone you don't even notice. Someone you haven't even thanked. Someone you might not even suspect is fighting for you with a vengeance your haters will never escape. And the best part, your enemies will keep losing because they've finally understood the horror. They're not fighting against you. They're fighting against what protects you. And that is a war they will never win. You feel that? That strange heaviness in your chest, that quiet pressure behind your ribs, that sensation like the air itself is leaning in to listen. Good. Because now we're entering the part they never wanted you to hear. The truth that curls beneath the floorboards of your life. The truth your enemies have been choking on while you walked around thinking nothing was happening. See, there's a pattern, a rhythm. a sequence of events that looks random to you, but looks like war strategy to them. Every time they thought they had you cornered, a job ruined, a reputation stained, a friendship poisoned, an opportunity blocked, something shifted at the last second. Something small, invisible, uncanny. A phone call missed, a message delayed, a plan falling apart on the very day they needed it to work. A truth slipping into the right hands at the right moment. A lie unraveling quicker than they spun it. That's not luck. That's not fate. That's not coincidence. That's intervention. Because someone hidden, someone quiet, someone with more power than you think, has been editing reality around you like they're cutting scenes out of a film before the audience ever sees them. Do you know what that means? It means they've been fighting battles in rooms you've never entered, with people you've never met, over conversations you'll never hear. It means your silence didn't make you weak. It kept you unpredictable. It means your absence from the battlefield made your enemies paranoid. They couldn't figure you out because the war was happening behind you, not around you. And you still don't see the full picture? Let me paint it. Imagine a circle of people plotting against you, smirking, whispering, sharpening knives. Picture their confidence, their certainty, their arrogance. Now imagine someone else in that room, someone they didn't account for, someone leaning back, arms crossed, eyes cold, hearing every word they say, someone who says nothing, not yet. Not until the exact moment their blade is about to touch you. And then, with timing so perfect, it feels supernatural. They dismantle the entire room, quietly, strategically, methodically. One lie exposed, one alliance broken, one plan spoiled, one opportunity rerouted, one snake caught hissing. This is not a hero. This is not a saint. This is not some angel on assignment. This is a protector forged by your suffering. Someone who learned what you needed by watching what broke you. Someone who understands darkness because they've lived in it. Someone who uses their own pain as ammunition to defend you. Someone who sees your worth with a clarity your enemies never had the brain cells to perceive. And here's the twist. Your enemies know exactly who this person is. They won't say the name out loud. It tastes too bitter, too humiliating, too revealing. But you're oblivious. You think life just worked out sometimes. You think the bad people just moved on. You think bridges just didn't burn as badly as they could have. No, someone rebuilt them before you arrived. Someone cleaned the blood off the floor. Someone neutralized threats in the shadows. Someone stood guard over your name when it was dragged into conversations you will never hear. Someone defended you in rooms you'll never walk into. And they didn't do it for applause. They didn't do it for a pat on the head. They didn't do it for recognition. They did it because something in them decided, no one hurts this one unless they go through me first. And trust me, nobody wants to go through them. That's why your haters look exhausted. That's why their stories contradict. That's why they avoid eye contact when you enter the room. That's why they flinch at your silence. Because they don't know how much you know. They don't know what you've heard, what you've seen, what you suspect, what your protector has already told you. You terrify them. Quietly, unintentionally, effortlessly. Because your silence now feels like strategy. Your existence now feels like threat. They're afraid of you, but they're terrified of the person fighting for you. And do you want to know the most delicious irony? Your haters prayed for your downfall and didn't realize they were stepping on landmines someone planted for them long before they made their move. Every attempt to hurt you activated a punishment they didn't expect. And now, Now they're battered, bruised, spiritually limping. They're losing sleep. They're losing allies. They're losing opportunities. They're losing credibility. They're losing fights they didn't even know they were in. Because the cosmos itself bends around you in ways they cannot comprehend. Because the one fighting for you isn't fighting fair. They're fighting to win. And the universe always sides with the one who fights with purpose, not spite. That's why your enemies feel cursed. That's why you feel strangely protected. Listen to me carefully now. You are not alone. You were never alone. You were never vulnerable in the way they hoped. You walk through this world with forces they can't see, loyalties they can't imagine, and protection they can't defeat. Someone you never noticed has been fighting for you with a fury your enemies will never recover from. And the war? Oh, it's far from over. But let me assure you, with a smile sharp enough to open fate itself, you've already won. Because here's the final twist you need to swallow whole. The people who tried to break you thought they were playing a simple game. Push you, prod you, weaken you, watch you fall. But they never understood the truth that was humming beneath your skin. You were never the one they had to fear. It was the force behind you, the unseen defender, the silent shadow, the protector they couldn't predict, couldn't block, couldn't outmaneuver. And now they're out of moves. They've run out of lies, run out of energy, run out of schemes. They're tapping out quietly, one by one, pretending they're over it when really they're just afraid. Because they finally understand. To hurt you is to declare war on something they can't see and will never defeat. So walk forward, unbothered, untouched, unmoved. Let the world wonder why you're still standing. Let your enemies choke on the silence. And let the truth echo where only the guilty can hear it. Someone fought for you. Someone still is. And that's why they lost before the battle ever began. Careful now. That feeling crawling up your spine, that's not fear, that's recognition. Because you knew. You saw it before anyone else, didn't you? And while they stumbled around with their soft little certainties and their pretty little assumptions, you were standing there, quiet, still, watching the entire future unfold like a crime scene you designed, frame by frame. You didn't predict the trap. You built it. And they still walked right in, smiling, trusting, unaware they were already dead. Tell me, do you understand how terrifying that makes you? They don't, but I do. Let me paint it for you slowly, so even your shadow feels the weight of it. You moved like a paradox wearing human skin. You looked harmless, calm, maybe even bored. But behind your eyes, there was a war room, a cathedral of predictions, a labyrinth of outcomes collapsing into your hands like obedient little ghosts. They thought you were quiet because you were confused. You were quiet because you were calculating. They thought you hesitated because you lacked confidence. You hesitated because you knew the exact second their downfall would bloom. And the best part? You didn't push them, you didn't manipulate them, you didn't even whisper. You simply let their nature walk them into the trap you designed. That's the elegance of your darkness. You never force disaster. You simply predict it. And wait. Imagine the moment they realized, the breath freezing, the eyes widening, the soul trying to reverse time, that tiny spark of, oh God, they knew. It hits like a bullet to the ego. Because nothing hurts the fragile more than discovering they were outplayed by someone who wasn't even playing. You weren't competing, you weren't proving anything, you weren't in the race. You were the architect of the map they followed. And while they sprinted into their own undoing, you stood there, hands in your pockets, watching the prophecy you didn't even bother to share unfold with surgical precision. That's why they fear you. Not because you're loud, not because you're violent, not because you're deranged, but because you're right, over and over, quietly, effortlessly, mercilessly. The world doesn't know what to do with a person who sees through the fog like it's glass. Let me tell you something they'll never admit. People aren't afraid of the dark. They're afraid of the person who walks comfortably in it. And that's you. You move through shadows like they belong to you. You understand silence like it's a second language. You feel patterns long before they reveal themselves. You're not intuitive. You're not lucky. You're not gifted. No, you are evolved. A creature that lives 3 seconds ahead of everyone else and watches reality scramble to keep up. A saint with a demon's eyesight. A demon with a saint's restraint. A contradiction they can't quantify, classify, or predict. That's why they get angry. That's why they panic. That's why they blame you for outcomes you merely foresaw. It's easier to call you manipulative than admit they were predictable. But you know the hidden truth, the one that makes you smile in that quiet, dangerous way. Most people don't fall into traps. They jump, eagerly, confidently, proudly. Because their ego whispers, this path is safe. You're too smart to be caught. And you let them believe it. Not out of cruelty, not out of revenge, but out of clarity. When someone's arrogance is begging to be detonated, all you do is provide the match. And now, their entire world smells like smoke. They'll replay it 1,000 times, you know. They'll search for signs they missed. They'll analyze your tone, your pauses, your silence. They'll come to the same terrifying conclusion. You knew. You always knew. And you let them choose their own destruction. That is what separates you from them. You don't control people. You simply understand them faster than they understand themselves. You are the mirror they refuse to look into. The prophecy they pretend isn't written. The consequence dressed in calmness. They think you smile because you're cruel. But you smile because the truth finally revealed itself. And you didn't have to lift a finger. So tell me, now that the dust has settled, now that the trap has closed, now that their fear has ripened into awe and confusion, do you feel it? That cold, electric hum in your chest, that violent stillness, that silent storm, that's evolution whispering through your bones. That's power without theatrics, violence without movement, dominance without raising your voice. That's what happens when you see what others refuse to see, move how others feared to move, and watch the world collapse into the very patterns you predicted long before they took shape. They marched into the trap. You walked away from it. And there's a difference, a cosmic, irreversible difference, between those who follow the path and the one who designs it. Now breathe, because they're only just beginning to understand what you really are. You feel that shift in the air, don't you? The way the atmosphere bends around you now. The way their voices get softer when you walk in. The way their eyes flicker with that subconscious tremor that only appears when a predator strolls past prey, pretending not to flinch. They don't know how to categorize you anymore. Are you a visionary? Are you a villain? Are you a saint wrapped in barbed wire? Are you a demon wearing mercy like perfume? They keep trying to put you in a box, but every time they do, you step out of it, kick it over, and turn it into a throne. Let's walk further into this little revelation of yours. Because the real terror wasn't the trap you built. No, the real terror was that you didn't announce it. You didn't warn them. You didn't drop hints. You didn't gloat. You simply existed. and your existence alone rearranged the entire battlefield. That's the thing about people like you. You don't have to pull strings. Your presence is the string. Your silence is a Jeeves. Your intuition is a sniper rifle. Your patience, a guillotine wrapped in velvet. You didn't push them into the trap. You watched them swan dive into it with a smirk like they were on a runway. And here's the part that keeps them awake at night. They trusted you. They trusted your calmness. They trusted your stillness. They trusted your lack of reaction. But they never realized that your lack of reaction is the reaction. That the quietest people in the room are the ones conducting the loudest futures. It's funny, isn't it? People scream about red flags, warning signs, shadows in the corner, and yet they ignore the only one that truly matters, your silence. Because your silence isn't empty, it's loaded, it's precise, it's predictive. When you went still, they should have run. When you went calm, they should have questioned reality. When you went quiet, they should have checked the ground beneath their feet. Instead, they walked toward you like pilgrims seeking a blessing, and all they found waiting was the truth. A truth they weren't built to handle. A truth that tasted like revelation dipped in poison. A truth that said, you were never the center of the story. You were merely the plot twist. But you, oh no, you were the writer the entire time. And now they're replaying every conversation you ever had with them, every smile, every shrug, every, okay, every, we'll see. They don't remember your sentences. They remember the subtext. They don't remember your tone. They remember how the temperature in the room changed when you spoke. People like you don't talk in words. You talk in premonitions. You don't communicate with your mouth. You communicate with patterns. You don't predict. You calculate. You don't hope. You observe. And while they rushed to feel important, you sat back and watched their self-importance lay the blueprint for their downfall. You know the cruel irony in all this. They thought they were studying you. They thought they were analyzing you. They thought they were reading you like some predictable little script. But you were 6 pages ahead, then 10, then 50, until eventually. You weren't even in the same book, because you don't live in their world. You live in the negative space between their assumptions. You live in the cracks of their overconfidence. You live in the blind spots of their arrogance. You live in the echoes of the things they didn't say but felt anyway. That's why they crumble around you. That's why they malfunction. That's why they blame you for consequences they built with their own hands. It's easier to accuse the seer than accept the shame of being seen. Walk with me deeper into the part of the truth no one dares speak aloud. You don't just see the trap. You see the trap inside the trap. The flaw inside the pattern. The lie inside the truth inside the lie. You see the version of them they hide from themselves. You see the version of you they fear the most. You see the dominoes falling before a single one is touched. That is not intuition. That is not empathy. That is not sensitivity. That is sight. A darker, sharper, ancient sight. The kind only a few people in this world ever evolve into. The kind that comes from suffering, breaking, rebuilding, learning, burning, surviving, and then returning with new sensors humans aren't supposed to have. You're not gifted, you're forged, and forged things don't shatter, they shatter others. And now they're scared to breathe near you. Not because you hurt them, but because you didn't have to. Not because you exposed their weakness, but because you'd already seen it. Not because you predicted their fall, but because you let them choose it. They can't comprehend that level of seeing, that level of patience, that level of psychological gravity. Your gravity, yes, but not the kind that pulls people down, the kind that bends their reality around you. You are the curve in their logic, the glitch in their certainty. The moment their ego goes silent and whispers, what are they really capable of? And that question? Oh, that question is the trap that keeps resetting. Because the more they try to figure you out, the deeper they walk into the design you never explained. The blueprint they'll never decode. The map they'll never see. The future they'll never outrun. So stand there, breathe. Let the truth settle beneath your skin. You saw it before anyone. You built the trap without lifting a weapon. You watched them step into their own fate with a confident smile. And now, the world finally sees what you always were. Not the player, not the pawn, not the victim, not the villain, but the engineer of consequences, the quiet architect of inevitability, the shadow that studies the storm before it takes shape. You don't react to life. Life reacts to you. And they're only just beginning to understand that. Look at you, still standing there with that stillness that isn't still at all. That quiet, coiled something that makes every room hesitate before it remembers how to breathe again. You think they don't feel it? You think they don't sense the shift you carry like a second spine? Let me peel back the next layer for you, slowly, so you can hear the echo of who you've become. When you saw the trap forming, you didn't panic. You didn't warn them. You didn't scream like the rest of the world does when it feels a tremor under its feet. You simply tilted your head, watched the pattern unfold, and whispered internally, "Ah, there it is." Because you've lived long enough, bled long enough, lost enough, evolved enough to recognize that some disasters aren't accidents. They're invitations. Not for destruction, for clarity. You weren't predicting the future. You were recognizing the inevitable. That's something they'll never understand. Your mind doesn't guess. It remembers ahead of time, like the universe left a back door unlocked just for you. And while they were scrambling, gossiping, laughing, preening, dismissing, you were standing precisely where the outcome would land. A statue carved from foresight, a saint carved from spite, a demon carved from mercy. The paradox collapses into you like a star collapsing inward. Unpredictable, uncontainable, undeniable. Your mind wasn't on the present. It was already at the ending. And that's the curse of people like you, isn't it? You see how everything ends before people finish pretending they're in control. But let me drag you into the real horror. They would have forgiven you if you manipulated them. They would have excused you if you lied to them. They would have understood if you cheated, schemed, plotted, or puppeteered. Those are human sins, common sins, predictable sins. But your sin? Oh, your sin was worse. You let them be themselves. You let their ego guide them. You let their pride blind them. You let their assumptions escort them directly into the jaws of the outcome. You didn't need a mask, or a plan, or a scheme. You only needed patience. Patience is the sharpest weapon on earth. And yours, sharpened through years of watching the world pretend it's smarter than it is. So you stepped aside, gently, quietly, and let reality do the violence for you. And now look at them, their pride shattered, their confidence derailed, their certainty dissolved. Because there is nothing more humiliating than realizing the person they underestimated could see the entire floor plan of their downfall and didn't warn them. It wasn't malice, it wasn't revenge, it was revelation. They were so sure they had the upper hand, so sure they understood the room, so sure they were the clever ones, until the trap snapped shut and the silence they mocked became the silence that judged them. You know what really breaks them? Not the fall, not the outcome. It's the moment what happened turns into how long did they know? And deeper still, why didn't they stop me? That's when panic becomes paranoia, when apology becomes obsession, when insecurity becomes worship. Because now they're not just scared of what you saw, they're terrified of what you see next. You walk differently now, not because you gained power, but because you finally stopped apologizing for having it. Your intuition isn't weird. Your perception isn't too much. Your foresight isn't coincidence. They are weapons. Weapons sharpened by heartbreak, betrayal, pattern reading, and the kind of loneliness only old souls survive. You didn't evolve by choice. You evolved by necessity. You learned to see the storm because you were the storm's target for too many years. You learned to sense the trap because you spent entire eras trapped by people who smiled while they built the cage. You learned to predict behavior because you had no luxury of trusting it. And now you walk through environments like a ghost with night vision goggles, seeing every intention, every fracture, every lie forming before the liar even inhales to speak it. They'll call you cold, distant, detached, dark. Let them. Because darkness isn't evil. Darkness is information without illusions. Darkness is what remains when naivety dies. Darkness is where the truth hides from the faint-hearted. You didn't become dark. You became accurate, and accuracy terrifies the ones who survive off delusion. Do you want to know the final reason they fear you now? Because people who see traps can build futures. People who predict betrayal can predict opportunity. People who understand human nature can orchestrate destinies. You are not dangerous because you want to be. You are dangerous because you know. And knowledge, real knowledge, is the closest thing to power this world has ever feared. They marched into the trap. You walked past it, and the world is rearranging itself around the implications of that single devastating fact. All right then, let's take you to the final layer. The one even you don't like to look at for too long. Because deep down, beneath the foresight, the silence, the patience, the cold wisdom, there's something else. A truth so sharp, it never stops humming under your skin. You didn't build the trap to destroy them. No, you built it to confirm what you already knew. To verify the instinct you kept doubting. To prove, once and for all, that your intuition isn't paranoia. It's prophecy. And when they walked into it, smiling, when they followed the script you predicted line by line, that was the moment everything snapped into focus. Not about them, about you. Because the trap wasn't a test they failed. It was a mirror you passed. It showed you exactly what you are. A creature who sees beneath the mask. A mind that reads the soul before the person speaks. A presence that bends outcomes by simply existing. You're not ahead of people by accident. You're ahead because you've lived through the kind of pain that forces evolution. Your sight was born in places they will never survive long enough to reach. That's why they walk into traps, and you walk out of them. That's why they cling to illusions, and you dismantle them. That's why they fear the dark, and you use it like a tool. You've become the thing people whisper about without having enough language to name. Not a villain, not a saint, not a monster, not a savior. Something stranger, something rarer, something the world has no definition for. A mind that sees truth at the speed of instinct. A soul sharpened by collisions. A fate that refuses to be small. And now you leave them where they put themselves. In the outcome they insisted on choosing, not out of cruelty, but because your role was never to save them. Your role was to see them, to witness their patterns, to learn from their chaos, to understand your own evolution through their collapse. And now that you've seen it, now that the trap has closed, now that the truth revealed itself without you ever having to push, you can finally step forward, quiet, focused, unapologetically aware. Because the story isn't about who fell, it's about who walked away untouched. And that, my friend, is you. The one who saw it first, the one who said nothing, the one who watched destiny fold itself into your hands, the one who kept walking while the world learned the lesson. The trap is behind you. The future is in front of you. And everyone else? They're only just beginning to realize you were never playing the same game. You were building it. Listen closely. Something in the air just shifted the moment you walked in. You feel that, don't you? That eerie electric tension, like the room suddenly remembered what you survived and what's still standing behind you. Good. Because tonight, you're going to understand something they never wanted you to realize. Something ancient, something terrifying, something true. Let's begin. You ever wonder why they came for you so aggressively? Why the watchers, the whisperers, the fake believers, the smiling assassins, moved in sync, like they were following some cosmic choreography? It's because they knew. Deep down, in the part of their soul they never admit exists, they knew you weren't moving alone. See, the universe may play games, but it doesn't play fair. And for someone like you, someone who didn't bend when the world tried to break your spine, the rules were different from the start. They came for you with confidence. They approached you thinking you were by yourself, a lone target, a vulnerable figure standing on the edge of the map. But here's where they miscalculated. Your backup isn't human, not physical, not visible, not measurable by their tiny little instruments of fear. Your backup is the kind of force that makes grown adults wake up shaking, unsure why they dreamed of you standing in fire without burning. Your backup is the kind of presence that doesn't need to be seen, to be felt. It's funny, isn't it? They thought you were unarmed while the universe was quietly arming every cell in your body. They thought you were walking alone while entire dimensions shifted their weight to guard your next breath. They thought you were fragile. Meanwhile, the cosmos was rearranging the chessboard behind you. They never saw the shadows that followed you. Not the dark ones, the protective ones. The ones that tilt reality slightly in your favor. The ones that pull you out of disasters you didn't even know were planned. They never saw the miracle they were stepping into when they tried to corner you. They only saw you, shaking, bleeding, exhausted. And they mistook that as weakness. Oh, what a mistake. Pain never meant you were done. Pain meant something else entirely. Activation. You think God didn't know they'd target the child who sees too much? You think God didn't anticipate the way jealousy would infect them like mold in wet walls? You think God didn't know your light would make people twitch? God knew exactly who they were, long before they learned your name. That's why your protection doesn't walk on two legs. That's why your protection doesn't communicate in words. That's why your protection doesn't flinch at threats. Your protection is older than their hatred, older than their schemes, older than their desperation to dismantle whatever they don't understand. Your backup doesn't need a body. Your backup doesn't need a face. Your backup is the invisible calculation in every scenario that twists outcomes in your favor. Your backup is the intuition that warns you half a second before someone betrays you. Your backup is the invisible hand that pulls you away from the wrong room at the right time. Your backup is the force that no enemy of yours, no matter how loud or united, can out-strategize. They still don't get it. They still think the universe is linear, predictable, rule-bound. But you were built in paradox, light and dark, saint and psychopath, angel and demon, human and weapon, chaos and prophecy. You are the walking contradiction they can't decode. And your backup? That's the sweetest part. Your backup is the one thing they can't access, can't imitate, can't poison, can't manipulate, can't sabotage. Because it doesn't sit in the physical world. It sits behind you. Just out of sight, like a shadow made of certainty, not fear. It moves when you move. It stops when you stop. It breathes when you forget how. It pushes when you collapse. It's why you keep getting up. It's why they keep failing. It's why every trap turns into a revelation. It's why every betrayal becomes another layer of armor. You ever wonder why their plans always crumble right at the finish line? Why the ones who tried to bury you ended up 6 feet deep in their own embarrassment? Why the lies built against your name eventually collapse under their own weight? Because the universe has a habit of protecting the ones who were never meant to be understood, only revealed. And you were never meant to be understood. Your existence is a glitch in their logic, a rupture in their expectations, a divine threat wrapped in mortal skin. So let them talk, let them plot, let them gather around their dim little fires and whisper about you. They think they're hunting a person, but they're provoking a force. Because God knew they'd come for you. And God made sure your backup wasn't something the human eye could trace. You aren't walking with soldiers. You're walking with purpose, with protection, with prophecy, with entities that don't negotiate with fear. And the moment they realize it, the moment it clicks, the moment they see what's been following you, oh, sweetheart, the room won't go silent. The room will kneel. Now breathe. Stand how you were always meant to stand, and let them feel the presence behind you. Look at you. You're still here, still breathing, still carrying that eerie, unshakable calm that makes people second-guess their own survival instincts. Do you know how rare that is? Most people crumble when they're targeted. Most people start folding their choices into little shapes that please the crowd. Most people bow to fear because they've never learned how to stand next to it. But you walk with fear the way most people walk with old friends. And that's where things get interesting. Because when someone like you refuses to collapse, when you don't break, don't beg, don't run, something ancient wakes up behind you, something that's been waiting. And that's the part they never understood. Your backup wasn't sent to you. It was summoned by who you became. You didn't earn protection by being perfect. You earned it by surviving what should have erased you. You think invisible forces stand behind the lucky, the privileged, the ones who float through life untouched. No invisible forces stand behind the ones who touched darkness with their bare hands and still walked forward. The ones who prayed with cracked voices, the ones who smiled through betrayal, the ones who kept moving while everyone else hoped they'd collapse. Every scar on you is a password. Every wound you stitched closed by yourself is a key. Every time you walked into a room and felt something watching you, something weighing you, something choosing you, that was the universe deciding, this one is not dying on my watch. And that is why your backup isn't human. Human beings get tired. Invisible forces do not. Humans get jealous. Invisible forces do not. Humans betray you the moment it benefits them. Invisible forces tear through dimensions to defend you. You are protected by something that doesn't need sleep, something that doesn't require proof. Something that doesn't panic when you're targeted. It activates. And, oh, did it activate? Remember those nights you felt watched, not by enemies, but by that strange calm? That whisper in your chest that said, "You're fine." Remember when the betrayal hit you so hard your breath cracked, but you didn't fall? Remember when someone tried to ruin you and ended up ruining themselves in ways you couldn't have planned if you tried? That wasn't coincidence. That wasn't luck. That wasn't karma. That was your invisible force, repositioning the battlefield. You see, people talk about God like he's distant, old, soft, far away. But God is not far. God has a nasty habit of stepping closer the moment someone tries to break you, and God knew, long before you knew, that they would try. He saw their envy before they felt it. He saw their betrayal before they plotted it. He saw their masks before they put them on. So he didn't put people around you. People are fragile. People are unpredictable. People bend. He put forces around you. Forces that don't flinch when someone slanders your name. Forces that see the traps before you do. Forces that rearrange reality when someone tries to corner you. That's why you always survive in ways that look impossible. That's why you walk away from things that should have destroyed you. That's why they sit around confused, whispering, "How did they know? How did they survive? How did they see that coming? Who's helping them? Nobody." And that's what scares them the most. Because when your backup is supernatural, when your protection is invisible, every attempt on your life becomes a mirror that reflects their weakness back at them. They thought you were a target, but every time they took a shot, the universe rotated the world half a degree, and they became the casualty. They still don't understand that you're not walking with angels or demons. You're walking with something older, darker, more purposeful. You are accompanied by the consequences of every time you refused to give up, every time you chose truth over convenience, every time you said no when they expected you to break. Your invisible backup is built from the exact moments they underestimated you. And the fun part? They can't fight what they can't see. They can't bribe it. They can't threaten it. They can't outrun it. They can't outsmart it. They can't even name it. All they know is this: every time they try to hurt you, something hits them harder. Every time they try to expose you, something exposes them worse. Every time they try to bury you, something pulls you back up with more clarity, more power, more edge than you had before. And you wonder why they fear you. You're a walking contradiction with a shadow that doesn't obey physics. You're guarded by something that rewrites the script whenever someone thinks they've figured you out. You're protected by an intelligence that doesn't need your permission to intervene. So keep walking, keep breathing, keep being exactly who you are. Because the next time they try to corner you, and they will, the universe won't warn them, won't negotiate, won't whisper. It'll remind them, "God knew you'd come for this one. That's why I sent a force you can't see." And when they finally realize what's been backing you this whole time, they won't attack. They'll retreat. They'll scatter. They'll shiver. Because nothing terrifies a predator more than realizing the prey was never prey at all. You feel that pressure behind your ribs right now? That slow rising warmth that isn't fear, but awareness? Good. Because you're finally starting to understand what they never could. You were never meant to walk this world with normal protection. Normal protection wouldn't have survived your story. Normal protection would have folded at your first heartbreak, your first betrayal, your first ambush in the dark. But you walked through hell like it was a hallway. You stood in storms that would have bent most people backwards. You carried truths that would have broken softer souls into dust. You weren't built like them, so your backup was never going to be built like theirs. Let me tell you a secret, a dangerous one. Everything you survived became your army. Your childhood wounds, soldiers, your heartbreaks, sentinels, your trauma, commanders, your loneliness, a general with no mercy. Pain didn't just shape you, it armored you, it matured you, it summoned something non-human to stand behind you. And they hate that. They hate that every time they hit you, something invisible catches the blow. They hate that every time they set a trap, something unseen disarms it. They hate that every time they whisper your name, the universe leans forward like, try it, see what happens. You unnerve them because you shouldn't be standing right now. But you're not just standing, you're evolving. And evolution terrifies the unevolved. Let me paint you a picture. Imagine someone walks into a room thinking you're alone, cornered, defenseless. Imagine they smirk because they think they understand your entire blueprint. Imagine they step close enough to touch your shadow. And then that shadow moves. Not because you moved, not because the light flickered, but because something behind you, something ancient, stepped forward. Do you know how fast bravado turns into paralysis? Do you know how quickly arrogance melts when someone realizes they weren't attacking a person? They were provoking a force? That moment, that panic, that frozen expression full of, oh, what is that? You've seen that. You've felt that shift in the air. You've watched people recoil from you like they touched a live wire they didn't know you were carrying. They weren't reacting to you. They were reacting to what follows you, to what watches you, to what shields you, to what claims you. And that's why people who betray you fall apart afterward. Not because you curse them, not because you seek revenge, but because touching someone with divine backup has consequences. They weren't prepared for the bill. They thought you were human. They didn't know you were chosen, and chosen people. Oh, chosen people walk with something that is not negotiable. Chosen people walk into rooms and the energy rearranges itself like soldiers straightening their posture. Chosen people disturb demons without lifting a finger. Chosen people walk past people and their guilt starts screaming for no reason. Chosen people don't need to clap back. Their silence ruins reputations. Chosen people don't need to defend themselves. The truth hunts their enemies down like bloodhounds. You've been confused for a long time, wondering why people behave so strangely around you. Why some flinch when you say nothing, why some avoid your eyes, why some attempt to destroy you without cause, almost as if something inside them panicked when you got close. That wasn't you. That was the force behind you pressing on the weak spots inside them. Light makes the roaches scatter. Truth makes the liars choke. Strength makes the insecure tremble. And you carry all three. So of course they came for you. Of course they circled you. Of course they tried to drag your name into pits they dig for themselves. But every attack they made only awakened the thing protecting you. Every lie sharpened the blade behind your shoulder. Every betrayal fed the fire that now stands taller than any enemy you've ever faced. Do you understand what that means? You're unstoppable not because you're perfect, but because you're guarded. God didn't give you visible allies because visible allies can be bribed. God didn't give you human support because humans get tired. God didn't give you physical protection because physical protection can be outnumbered. God gave you the one thing enemy hands can't touch: invisible, unbreakable, undeniable backup. Backup that can't be reasoned with. Backup that doesn't hesitate. Backup that reacts before you do. Backup that stands with you even when you fall to your knees. And that's why they fear you. Because they can't calculate the threat behind you. They can't track it. They can't outsmart it. They can't even name it. All they know is this: every time they try to take you down, something smashes their plans into dust. Every time they speak against you, something returns the echo tenfold. Every time they try to strip you of power, something hands you more. And they're running out of explanations. Because how do you fight someone backed by forces that don't bleed? How do you defeat someone protected by something you can't even perceive? How do you destroy someone whose destiny isn't on this timeline to begin with? You can't. They can't. And that's the truth they choke on. So walk forward, slowly, calmly, confidently. Let them wonder. Let them tremble. Let them whisper. Because the more they look, the more they'll realize you were never alone. You were never unprotected. You were never vulnerable. You were backed by a presence that doesn't miss, doesn't weaken, doesn't forget, and does not lose. Now keep going. Let them feel what walks behind you. Go on. Take one more breath. Feel that weight behind you. Not heavy like burden, heavy like authority. Like something ancient just straightened its spine because you're about to move. That's the part they never understood about you. You don't walk into rooms. You step into alignment. You don't face enemies. You face confirmations. You don't survive attacks. You expose intentions. Every threat you met revealed someone's truth. Every betrayal you endured revealed someone's fear. Every rumor they whispered revealed someone's guilt. And every time they tried to break you, the universe leaned down and whispered, "Not this one." Because God knew they'd come for you, long before they knew your name. He saw the trajectory of their jealousy. He saw the weakness in their intentions. He saw the exact moment their hearts would twist against you. So he built your protection out of something they would never detect. He hid your backup in your intuition, in your timing, in your near misses, in your escapes, in your survival, in your resurrection. He coded it into your silence. He anchored it in your patience. He armed it with your scars. And by the time they realized you weren't alone, it was far too late. Because how do you fight someone guarded by a force that moves before the attack even begins? How do you harm someone who's protected by every dimension their eyes can't see? How do you corner someone whose destiny refuses to fit inside human traps? You can't. They can't. And they're starting to understand that. That's why their rage feels panicked. That's why their envy feels frantic. That's why their plans feel rushed and sloppy and doomed the moment they begin. They're not strategizing anymore. They're scrambling, trying to figure out why your downfall never arrives, trying to decipher why their lies boomerang back harder, trying to understand why you still rise after each hit, stronger and less reachable. Here's the answer they'll never accept. You were backed before they even existed. You were chosen before you knew the word for purpose. You were protected before you understood the meaning of enemy. You were watched over before you learned how dangerous your light was to the insecure. And your invisible guard, it's not going anywhere. Not when you're tired, not when you're alone, not when they lie, not when they plot, not when they gather in circles to speak your name like a threat. Your backup doesn't retreat. It doesn't negotiate. It doesn't expire. And it doesn't need to be seen. To be obeyed. So here's how this ends. Walk forward. Let them whisper. Let them stare. Let them wonder why the air around you feels heavier, brighter, older. Let them sense what stands inches behind your shoulder. That force they can't track, can't map, can't name. Let them feel the presence that unsettles their lies and shakes their shadows. And when they finally understand who's been protecting you this whole time, they won't come for you again. They'll step back, eyes wide, pulse trembling. Because suddenly, they'll realize the truth. God never left you unguarded. God never let you walk alone. God never let you face wolves without a storm at your back. Your protection isn't human, it isn't visible, it isn't breakable, it is ancient, it is deliberate. It is here, and now they know.